Okay, welcome back. So we're just going to practice using the calculator now. So we'll do from question 10 onwards here. Okay, either at home or for homework, and you could be watching this on YouTube, or we might be doing it in class. But anyway, let's start working our way down through them. So let's start off with question 10. Okay, so you want to, you can write it out if you want to, but really, it's all about, let's get rid of this now and use the calculator. Okay, that go way down small. I'm just curious how small I can get it. Okay, and we put it into the bottom corner there. Right, so I'm going to try and fill in this question 10i. Where did they go with A, B, and C? I don't know. They went straight to the Roman numerals. Lovely. Okay, so we got 8.4 by 10 to the fifth. Now I checked with ChatGPT, and they're just saying the general consensus is the way of saying this is just what I said there, either 8.4 by 10 to the fifth or 8.4 by 10 to the 5. But just make sure you know it's not about this button, it's about this button. Okay, we go downstairs and it's 1.2 by 10 to the 2. Okay, and we hit equals and we get 7,000. Now it's a little bit ironic in that we have a scientific notation here and we're back to decimal D notation. Okay, however, and what I would say to you is what I can do is just take my calculator anytime I want and do, what happened there now? I didn't get into setup there, let me clear. Shift setup, even though it is setup, I might say shift setup just to remind myself, number, and go into scientific, and we'll just take 5 decimal places. Okay, now you can jump, I'm not sure over and back, but now your answer will be given in scientific notation. And actually it did ask me to do that. Okay, so I'm glad I did that. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. So I'll write that down. I suppose I would encourage you to write down the actual to write down the entire question. So we'd be going 8.4 by 10 to the 5 over 1.2 by 10 to the 2 equals 7 by 10 to the 3. Okay, so we might as well write it down. 9 by 10 to the 4 over 1.5 by 10 to the 2. Now sure enough, you could start trying to do it in your head. That will go in 6 times. It'll be 6 by 10 to the 2. Okay, but double check that and you might enjoy putting it in your calculator. 9 by 10 to the 4 over 1.5. Now never ever, even though it's prominent up here, stay away from him, stay away from this stuff. Could I do that right now and put in a 10 there and a 2 there? You could, and it'll be right this time around, but it's a very bad habit and I'm not ever going to show you that again. Okay, you can do the rest of them across the page there, and now we'll get on to question 11. So question 11 is no more difficult in principle. I mean, the hard thing about question 11 is just writing it out. So we're not going to bother this time around, or at least I'm not going to do it here in the video anyway. I'm going to go 1.4 by 10 to the 3. Another thing you hear is 1.4 e to the 3, because of the word engineer. And it just might be easier to say 1.4, because what that number there, it can also be written as is 1.4 e to the 3 plus 5.6 e to the 2. And look, I'm going to continue on here, but it is a consideration. Okay, so this one here, plus 5.6 e to the, no, I don't like it. We'll go back to saying, I actually think scaled up and scaled down as a way of saying the numbers, might be a way to think about it, over 7 scaled down by a factor of 1, or scale to the -1, okay, and hit equals, and that's going to be your answer. I'll just have a look at how we're doing here in 14.5. 14.5, question 11, 2.8 by 10 to the 3. It's going great. Okay, so let's get on to some of the more, so let's go to some of the sort of like scientific questions. So we have that the Earth's diameter is, let's go with, okay, let's try to read the question for understanding. The Earth's diameter is something very big. Mars' diameter is smaller. So if I was writing down, I might go D equals 1.27 by 10 to the 4 kilometers. And that would be 10 to the 7 meters. And let's go little d for Mars equals 6.8. So this is bigger, but this is smaller. Okay, kilometers. And which planet has the larger diameter? So for that, you can cover this up and just look at the larger power. Okay, so clearly the Earth has a larger power. What is the difference between their diameters? Okay, for that we need to do a subtraction. And now I'm going to show you, because in a second, what is the total if they're added. Okay, so we're going to have to add and subtract them. And when something like this happens, it can be nice to use the variable letters on your calculator. Okay, so what we're going to do now is I'm going to change the second one to E, and we're going to put the D and the E values into your calculator. So we'll start off with the top one, 1.27. What did I say? Even I can't remember. Scaled up by 10 to the 4. Okay, and you just store it. Actually, I'll just store it to A, so I'll make the first one A. Hit clear. Not sure that I have to, but I'll hit clear, and I'll key in the second one. Okay, 6.8 scaled to the 3, stored to B. Okay, now I have A and B in my calculator. If I had to look at them, I could hit shift recall, and I'll recall them all there, and you'll see that they're both in there. How come that's only 127? Is that about right? Yeah. So that in kilometers they can be easily written as integers as well. Okay, that's fine. Look at that. It doesn't really scale it up because the pixelation starts to kick in. Anyway, so what we're going to do is we're going to subtract them first. So how do we do that? We simply go A minus alpha B equals 5.9 by 10 to the 3, and now I can go back here, forward here, and turn that into a plus. Okay, give your answer in standard form, which I just did. Okay, so I'll bring this down here, and we look at question 16. So with these questions, obviously we're in Word. It's word problems, so we do need to read them. So the first thing is a bit of algebra. We'll write just with letters. Speed equals distance over time. And reading carefully here, write an equation for time. So this reminds me of our changing the subject. So I always put the letter I want to get in its own in a circle. Okay, so we have that S is directly proportional to D and indirectly proportional to time. Okay, but either way, T is the variable we want to get on its own. So we want it on the top on its own. So at the moment it's on the bottom, it's dividing. If you look over here, it's dividing, so we want to do some multiplication. But that just looks like bringing the T up. Okay, but after bringing it up, we don't want S to be with it, so we'll also bring the S down. So this is our plan. Let's go ahead and execute. T equals D over S. Okay, now for those of you who like your triangle, okay, with S, T, and D. Now in terms of the formula they just gave us, S is equal to D over T, then you can look at that as S being here in the bottom left and the D over T. Okay, so if to give something on its own, it's on the bottom. But that I want to warn you something about that triangle. That triangle alone will never get you work of merit. Okay, but what it will do, I'll make it a bit smaller here and a little bit more to the side. What it will do for us is it will allow us to do that exercise we just did. Okay, so it says D equals ST, S equals D over T, and T equals D over S. But to be honest, really it's outside of algebra. It's a construction, a visualization technique, and I'm just warning you, it alone will not get you a work of merit, which is also important. Okay, so I'm going to avoid it. So we have now D equals D over S, and we're about to get some D values and speed values. Okay, so we do need to pick two letters, and if this doesn't work for me, I will just say the distance will be A and the speed will be B. Okay, so let's look for the distance. There's loads of noughts here. I'm going to skip count 3, 6, 9, 12, 15 and 16. Okay, so we'll go, actually I'm going to use C and D, so we'll be able to show you all the variables as we bring them along. Okay, so C will be my distance. I don't think your calculator will even let you put in that many noughts. I mean, if I try, I said 16, isn't it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay, we could do that. But we could have also just done 4 scaled to the 60. Clearly that second way is better. Okay, we could have done that and stored to DC. Hope I'm not confusing you now with this. And the second one is the speed of light. We know that one very well. 3 by 10 to the 8. 3 by 10 to the 8. Actually, now that I see it from a physics point of view, that's what I always said. 3 by 10 to the 8 stored to the D. Okay, and now I can, now I can do, hey, what is C over D? Okay, now this is how many seconds it takes for light to get from Proxima Centauri, the nearest star to us, after our star. Okay, now we might want to put this, you know, try to make sense of this and get a sense of what it means. So let's just write let's first of all write 1.3. By the way, I think it's 1.4 or 1.34 around it. But anyway, 1.3 by 10 to the 8. So let's say that's seconds. So let's divide by 60 for minutes. And divide, by the way, I couldn't divide by 60 again that time, because then it would have done something different because of the order of operations. That's hours. Divide by 24 is days. Divide by 365 is years. And we get 4.2, or let's say 4.3 years. Imagine. Long time. How many seconds does it take? Okay. So the rest of them are very doable. They're just word problems. We really need to move on. So I'll move on to section 14.6. As always, students, I will see you in the next one.